there, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mia and I am the maker behind Knit and Grace. So today I bring you a long overdue podcast episode. If you've caught up on my last video, you know that I've had a lot of sort of updates in my life that have made it pretty crazy around here, and also kind of slowed down my knitting for a little bit. So if I had filmed an episode in July, quite honestly, I probably wouldn't have had anything to show for it. So here I am, back in my groove, kind of settled into life as it is for right now, and back to the knitting. So I wanted to sit down and record an episode for you all. So yeah, I mean, today I think I'm just going to go over knitting. Sometimes I do include some sewing and some other projects as well. But actually I think I'm going to film a separate sewing podcast this month, because I actually have been sewing quite a bit. So I'm thinking that that will be my second video this month. So in 2 weeks, I will put out that sewing podcast. But in the meantime, grab yourself a beverage and some knitting or sewing or whatever it is that you like to do while you watch these episodes, and we will jump right in. So I'm a little rusty, so hopefully this will be okay. And I think I should go pretty quickly because, again, I haven't had too much progress on things. So I think that it should be a pretty quick episode. We will start with what I'm wearing. I am wearing the Simpasuchi by Magali McDonald of the Knit Yorker. And I knit this in Knit Picks Gloss, I believe, and this was a test knit for her at the beginning of the year, or the end of last year. She released it this spring. She released it in the spring. So this was a test knit that I did for her, and yeah, I mean, I love the top. It's a really great top, and I actually love this one too because it's one of my tops that I actually wear quite a bit to work. It's just like perfect wear, you know, especially in like the transitional weather or anything like that, where you know, maybe it's technically too warm for a sweater, but you work in an office environment and it's cooler in the office, so you want something that will keep you a little bit warmer. It's like the perfect project for that. But I have a pile of things around me, so let's jump in to the first finished object. Okay, so the first finished object is a test knit that I did for, and I still haven't woven in my one end for my sleeve, for Isabella Clark of 100 Acre Wool. And it is her Fields of Gold sweater pattern. And so this is what it looks like. And let's see, I'm filming first thing in the morning on Saturday. Hopefully this goes up on time on Sunday. So hopefully the light isn't too weird, but let's see. Yeah, I have to hold it back here. So this is the Fields of Gold sweater. It features these really beautiful wheatgrass pattern. I'm not sure how well you can see that in the light. So it features this beautiful wheatgrass pattern down the front, and this pattern is specifically designed for unspun yarn, and her sample, as well as mine, is actually knit in Nutiden. And so her sample she knit was in the color Hufta, which is like kind of like a gold color, which, you know, kind of like that Fields of Gold, hence the name. And the color that I knit mine in is Yarnvelia. And so this was a color that I really loved from a few collections back. And this is the sweater. I knit the 5th size on a 46-inch bust. I got gauge on the recommended needles, which I think the gauge needle is a US 8. And I mean, this is just a really lovely pattern. The construction is really interesting because it has the appearance of set-in sleeves, but it's actually all knit in one piece. There's no seaming for this. And then it has this beautiful subtle V-neck detail on the neckline, which gives it, you know, a really nice sort of sophisticated touch. And it's just like it's such a beautiful sweater. I knit the 3/4 length sleeve version. I didn't modify the body, but I did shorten the arms by quite a bit, or the sleeves I should say, because I am a shorter person. So I ended up knitting this in, I think, 350 grams of Newtoden held double. So yeah, so that is my first FO. My next FO was also a test knit that unfortunately I didn't finish during the test period, but I think you will have seen this one in my last podcast. And this is the Bay Slipover is the other test knit that I've done for Jackie C. Slack. This is the Moon Crush Tank by Jacqueline C. Slack, and it's this beautiful color block tank top. This is the front, and this is the back. And so this one is not blocked yet, but it's a really cool construction. It's worked using intarsia. I knit this in Brooklyn Tweed Puri, in the colors Sea Glass, Mesa, and I'm not recalling what the third color is, but I'll insert it here. And if I recall correctly, I got gauge on US 5 knitting needles. So it's just a really nice tank. She also has a cropped version, which I think the cropped version ends like around here or so. So it's like much shorter. And I knit the full length version, so it hits me right at the top of my hips. So it's still a little bit cropped, but it's like nice to wear with like trousers. And I've already, you know, tried it on. It fits perfectly. I knit the 4th size, again on my bust is between 44 and 46 depending on my undergarments. So I knit the 4th size and it fits pretty perfectly. Probably won't be able to get a FO shot of this one before I put this out since I still have to block it. But yeah, I'm really excited to block this one and take some pictures and also just wear it. I think it'll probably look really nice in my Zoom meetings since I'm working remotely this month. So I'm already thinking about like, this will be good for some Zoom meetings. But yeah. So again, this is the Moon Crush Tank by Jacqueline C. Slack. It was a really enjoyable knit. It's pretty straightforward. It's, you know, I don't often like seaming, but it's actually nice, you know, it was a nice portable project because it was seamed. And then the intarsia was definitely a lot of fun. I don't think I knit intarsia in many, many years. Although there was definitely a lot of weaving in of ends. That's what I meant to say. A weaving in of ends, but I think it's totally worth it for the finished product. And I think, yeah, it features like this mock neck line that's like folded over, also a folded over hemline. It's just a beautiful top. And then my third and final FO that has made an appearance on this podcast quite a few times. And finally, I just sat down one day and I was like, nope, I have to finish this. Otherwise, it's just never going to get done. And I don't know why I wasn't finishing it. I think it was just because it got to the point where it was like so much stockinette. Yeah, if you watched my recent vlog, you'll probably know what it is. But it is the Stockholm sweater by Petite Knit. And so this is what it looks like. I think I spoke to the bottom ribbing in my last podcast that I showed this. And this, of course, still needs to be blocked as well. I wish I had gone to the 3 millimeters as opposed to 3.25 millimeters, which I did do on the sleeves. So the sleeves are like, I think the ribbing on the sleeves is much neater. Hold it back here. There we go. But yeah, I mean, basic pullover. I knit this in Nutiden, so a single strand of Nutiden held together with a strand of Barocco Ariel, and the colors were Harden for Nutiden and Copper for the Barocco Ariel. I got gauge on a US 5 needle for this one, and I'm trying to think what I've done. I did shorten the sleeves, so I also, I'm lying. I did not get gauge for this one. I don't recall what gauge I got for this one, but I used a US 5. I just went on kind of the gauge that I liked when I knit up my swatch. And I was able to get gauge, but I just thought it was a little dense, and I didn't want to go down so much in needle size. So I stuck with the US 5, and I believe, if I recall correctly, and I'll link my Ravelry page below, but if Ravelry is not accessible to you, please feel free to shoot me a message. I believe I knit the 7th size to get the dimensions for the 5th size. I think that's how it worked out with my gauge. But not really, because I kind of, I did the different modifications. So like, in terms of like the stitch count, I cast it on for the 7th size, which would essentially give me the width, of the 5th size. And then when it talked to knitting length, I always knit to the length of the 5th size for the body. So I don't think I made any modifications to the body. I did shorten the sleeves though. So, and I did work the increases a little bit quicker because I knew I wanted to shorten the sleeves. So, I think I worked the increases every 5th round on the sleeves after I picked up. Every 5th round, 21 times. And then immediately did the ribbing. So, whatever that works out to be. And yeah, I love it. It fits perfect. I still need to block it. And I think that this is going to be a staple of my wardrobe. And I think that I'll pretty much knit this again. I haven't weighed it yet to figure out how much yarn I used. But I definitely used less than, or either less than or just about 300 grams of the Nutiden. So really nice project if you only have like a 300 gram bag and you don't want to like knit a shawl or something and you're a bigger bodied person. Yes, again, knit to the dimensions or the chest measurements of the 5th size on a 46-inch bust. So those are my 3 FOs. Unfortunately, 2 of them are unblocked and do not have FO pictures yet, but hopefully you enjoyed those. And I will show you my whips, one of which you are all familiar with. So I'll start with that one, which is my half and half wrap, which has grown big enough to need a bag change. So my half and half wrap, I am knitting in Life Through the Long Grass Hinterland. It's like I think it's a BFL Gotland blend. But I'll link my Ravelry page so you guys can see the details. It's early in the morning. I haven't done this in a while. My coffee hasn't kicked in yet. I apologize. I am knitting this on US 3, which I believe is what the pattern calls for. And I am on my 3rd skein, so this is how big it's gotten. I haven't woven in my ends at the end, so you guys can see where I've joined the yarn. Let's see. We have one join here, and then we have another join here. And so this is where I got to for when I took it on my trip to the Catskills 2 to 3 weeks ago. And so since then, I've knit from here all the way to here. So I'm in the home stretch. I have this many stitches to wrap. However, and I don't know if I mentioned the color. This first colorway is Madder Rubio. I don't know where I got Mad Hatter from. It's Madder Rubio. And I'm kind of freaking out a little bit because this is how much I have left of the skein. So I'm hoping that this is enough to finish, especially because I got this when we were in Savannah in February, which I can definitely order from her. The yarn shop in Savannah is called The Frayed Knot. I can order from her and she would ship to me. But because I got this so long ago, like obviously the colorway will, the dye lots will be completely different. So I'm hoping that this is enough. But I'm kind of feeling it. I'm kind of feeling like I'm playing a little bit of yarn chicken here. And I know it looks like you're like, probably like, that still looks like a good bit, but I'm freaking out. So we'll see. I really been knitting this one like on car rides, when I was commuting into work and things like that. So this has just been like a commuting project, because it's just the knit stitch. So hopefully I'll be able to join the second color soon. And then I don't know, maybe should I join these the Blankets of Dreams knit along that's being hosted by Mega. I know that she's knitting, I mean, her half and half triangles wrap is absolutely beautiful. Did I mention this is the half and half triangles wrap Pearl Soho? Everyone is knitting it right now. And I have not knit it in linen quill. I probably do want to get some eventually and maybe knit myself a second one after I knit this one. So we'll see. But this is Life in the Long Grass, Hinterland. The first color is Madder Rubio. I don't recall what the second color that I chose was, but once I join that second color, I'll give you all an update and you will know that. So that's that one. And then I only have a second whip for the month. And this is, I have to be a little gentle with it because I actually put it on a cord so that I can take a yoke shot. But this is the Summer Ella by Lena Holm. And it's just like a beautiful, this is the short sleeve version. So it's the Summer Ella pattern, and I actually knit this for my mother. It's not a size inclusive pattern, but I purchased it because my mom actually wanted this specific pattern. And that's what she requested that I knit her. And so I knit it for my mom, and I'm not sure if I've shared finished object shots of hers, but I'll insert them here so you can see. And I knit hers in Barocco. It was one of the Barocco cotton yarns. And she loves it. It looks great on her. And yeah, so the reason why I started knitting this for myself is And I'm knitting the 4th size. So I knit hers. Hers is the 3rd size. She wanted some ease. I'm knitting the 4th size with no ease. And where was I going with this? So I guess I should start with the yarn. The yarn is Nutiden. And holding it double. It's in the color Vanessa. And this is actually also my one and only acquisition since my last podcast, which I know sounds insane. Like, I've only gotten one thing of yarn, and I got a 500 gram bag. I have a bunch of it actually balled up here. So I'll just go ahead. We'll just incorporate the acquisitions here. So this is what it looks like. Ugh, I'm sorry. I placed this camera in like the wrong place. Let's see. You can kind of see there, but I'll insert some footage of from our trip that I took of this color so that you can see it properly. But I got a 500 gram bag of Nutiden Vanessa, which I fell in love with in the shop update. And then I was like, what am I gonna do with this yarn? I just love the color, and I was like, I need to get it. So I got a 500 gram bag because I knew that was enough for me to make a sweater if I wanted to hold it double. And so at first I actually thought I wanted to knit the Wildflower Path jumper by Melody Hoffman of Bee Mandarins. And I was like, that was my initial plan for the yarn. And then when we went away and I was like balling up the yarn, I was like, no, this needs more of like a lacy pattern. So then I was like, oh, I can maybe knit one of the Magnolia Bloom patterns by Camila, is it Valmiki? I'll insert her name here. But I was like, oh, maybe I'll knit the Magnolia Bloom pattern, which again is not a size inclusive pattern, but it's a pattern that was gifted to me a very long time ago. So it's in my queue, in my stash of patterns, and you know, eventually I want to knit it. But then I was like, well, if I knit that pattern, I would have to not only hold the Nutiden double, but I would also have to hold it together with 2 strands of mohair held double. So it's essentially 4 strands. And I think eventually I probably will do it in Nutiden and knit it up in Nutiden, but I didn't want to wait to buy more yarn and to have it come, and I was already on vacation. And then B, I was like, I don't know, I just really wanted to have the yarn just be held on its own. So then I remembered that I had this pattern, which still has that, you know, like lacy botanical feel of a yoke. And so again, this is the summer version of her Ella pattern series. And so it's a short sleeve version, but what I plan on doing is knitting 3/4 sleeve. So it's going to be sort of a multi-season project. And so this is what it's looking like so far. I literally just finished the yoke. So there we go. Just finished the yoke. Oh, that looks looking really nice. And so now, you know, I think I just have to knit a little bit more before dividing for the sleeves and body. So that is the Summer Ella in Nutiden Vanessa. So yeah, I guess that takes you through, and not that it matters because Nutiden really just holds itself, but the cord is coming out of these stitches. I'm more concerned about the beginning of the round stitch marker not coming out. Okay, so yeah, that's whips and acquisitions in one. Where am I going to put this? This podcast is flying. So yeah, FOs, whips, acquisitions. The last piece of the podcast is just what I'm planning on knitting in August, which I am hoping to finish the Summer Ella. And I'm hoping to finish the Madder Rubio color of the half and half triangle drop. So I just want to get through my first color, and then I want to finish the Cimarella. And then I did sign up for a test knit because that's how I roll. The test knit doesn't have a name yet. It's just called Colorwork Socks, and the designer is Anya of Woolen Garden. And so I'll insert a picture of the socks here for you from her Instagram post, and I'll link her Instagram post below so you guys can take a look at it. But yeah, I'm planning on test knitting those. I signed up for the test knit and I was chosen, and I believe she's actually going to send out the pattern to the testers tomorrow. So when you all are seeing this, and it's a 1-month test, so that'll be done by the end of the month. And we only need to finish one sock by the end of the month, but I'm hoping to finish both. And part of the reason why I signed up for this test, you know, being that they're socks, they're small, but I kind of like, I haven't been getting into my sock knitting mojo. And now that I'm going to be, you know, commuting more in the fall and all that jazz, I definitely want to get my sock knitting mojo back. So I think that this is the way that I'm going to do that. And I'm going to use yarn that I've had in my stash for a while, which I've shown here, and it is Woolen Twine's Corriedale Sock Base. And so these Colorwork socks can be knit up in 2, 3, or 4 colors. So it's perfect because I have the 3 colors of the Corriedale Sock Base. So my main color I'm going to use is Porridge, so the neutral color. And then my color work is going to be in Coral and Mulberry. So knitting with these 3 together, the color work socks by Anya of Woolen Garden, name still TBD. So that was a pretty short podcast episode. I hope that you are all well. I hope that you enjoyed sitting and listening to my ramblings for a while. I'm not going to get into too much of a life update because I kind of did that in last week's video. So if you do want a little bit of a life update and what I've been up to and why I've kind of took a very long hiatus, you can take a look at that video along with some beautiful footage of our recent trip to the Catskills. But yeah, as I mentioned, I will put out a sewing podcast this month, so its own sewing episode, and so that'll come to you all in 2 weeks. But again, I hope you enjoyed this. Definitely, you know, do all the things like subscribe, bell, all that jazz. Let me know what other types of videos you would like to see from me as well in the comments. I want to know, going into the fall, kind of plan out some videos in advance for you all. So definitely if there's a topic that you'd like me to cover, let me know and I can get those filmed for you all. So I'll continue to put out my monthly podcast. This is just really like my second video that I put out every month. I would just like to know what you all want to see from me. And with that, I hope you all had a great weekend, are having a great Sunday if this goes out on time, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.